This is the Two Scrappy Chicks podcast where life is messy, the stories are real, and we dare to talk about it anyway.
All right, welcome back. Another rainy day in Illinois. Let me tell you, it was crazy last night, and it was supposed to go to 1:45, and I was beside myself. I have storm anxiety, as I'm sure I've shared with you guys. And my one of my dogs, he was like on the bed and wouldn't move over, and then I said, "Move over, buddy," and then he chose to go lay on the puppy bed on the floor. But we got lucky. I mean, it was windy and stuff and it rained. But Streeter again got hit, which is south of us. And it's like, what the heck is with this weather? And now it's thundering. I don't see an alert yet on the phone, and I haven't looked at the map, but uh okay. I see it. It's an itty bitty. It's like right above us. It's not a big cell. Let me see. Yeah, it's gonna hit. It's gonna hit soon. Isn't that wonderful? And then tomorrow we're supposed to get it again. And I was like, ugh. And I go kind of north tomorrow. I go to like Oswego and Bolingbrook. And then I have book club after that. We're reading Christina Applegate's book, which I do Audible. Love Audible. So yeah, pray for me that they say, depending on what happens today, we'll set up for tomorrow. And I hope of the latter of what they said for today. If it happens, tomorrow won't be so bad. And then it's supposed to then, I think, be bad again Wednesday and Thursday. Maybe we get a break by Friday. But it's like, what is with this crazy weather that we go through droughts? Like the last good rain we got, I know it did rain last Monday. And there was a day it just rained, but then when you get the humidity, oh, it's awful. Well, just got my alert and it says severe thunderstorm watch until 1 a.m. Huh, it's gonna be a long night again. I had a hard time sleeping, but let me tell you, I got the Calm app from T-Mobile. I got it a deal, $12.99 for the year. And my husband was just talking about, someone was talking about Matthew McConaughey on there that tells a story. So I played it. So I fell asleep, I swear, within 5 minutes. It's 25 minutes long. And I will have these nights where I'm up every 2 hours going just to the bathroom, tinkle, right? And then I couldn't get back to sleep again. This was after 2 hours. So then I played Matthew again. And this time I listened to the whole thing and I was just like, okay. Then fell asleep. Got up again in 2 hours. And I was like, okay, I need something different. So I played some Irish guy telling a story. Just love the Irish accent because I'm Irish and Italian. Then I was up at 6, no, 7, and just was not motivated, to get up. I was exhausted and I was supposed to clean two houses today, but unfortunately the second one canceled. They had to take their dog to the emergency vet, and I hope all is well with them. But tomorrow's going to be brutal as far as work. My unfavorite day of the month, two houses in an office, and then have to get to group. So, okay. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for the Real Housewives 20-year anniversary girls trip. All right, sorry about that brief pause. Had a intermission. Okay, so the 20-year celebration of the Housewives, and we see Nene and Portia Nene comes over to Portia's house and she's packing for the trip. And I guess they show a flashback of them of season 12 of Atlanta because that's where those two are from. All right, so the girls that are the main girls for this trip is Countess Luann from New York City, Vicky from OC, Giselle from, I want to say Atlanta, Kyle from Beverly Hills, Teresa from New Jersey, Lisa from Salt Lake City, and Portia. I believe Portia's from Potomac. Or do I have Giselle and Portia, vice versa? I'm not sure. I have not watched Atlanta or Potomac because I have so many other housewife shows and other shows. Although I heard those two are really good as far as drama. So maybe I will watch them. So there's going to be a yacht party. Vicky's going to host it. And she gave out gift bags that said her Coda insurance. And the girls go through it thinking it was like a goodie bag. And there's like a clipboard. If you don't have life insurance, this is what I do. And the girls were all just like, okay. So, Luann and Giselle share a room because they did a show together. I think it was last summer where they were at a hotel and they met guys. It was a dating show. So they have bonded. On the yacht, there's cardboard cutouts of the girls from when they all first started. And Vicky later on will have an 80s theme party with some of the OGs from the OC. Okay, so um, each of the girls talk about what was their iconic moment on their show. Vicky was showing up at her son's college and doing the kickstand, and that's was where they lift her up and she drinks from the keg. Kyle running out the door in her cape in Amsterdam when her sister Kim and Lisa Rinna got into it, and Lisa Rinna threw a drink, I think, in Kim's face. Lisa from Salt Lake City, the hot mic when she was in the bathroom going off. Now, I think she didn't realize she had the mic, but going off about Meredith saying she screwed half of New York. And she said she felt bad that she did that and hurt Meredith. Portia was um the bullhorn at the reunion, and I think because of that, they didn't allow anything at the reunion. No props. Okay. Giselle, hers was Karen's birthday and a seating issue that I guess Karen wanted to be in a certain seat and Giselle was in it. I don't know, something like that. Now, Teresa, of course, come on, we all know what she's famous for, the table flipping. Then she starts talking about the tax fraud and what she went through, how she learned her lesson in that. And then Vicky, I don't know, Vicky like started just acting like really strange and just being like, no, 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 like she didn't want Teresa to talk about that. Vicky's like, I pay my taxes, this and that. Like she didn't want like the bad karma, and then she turned it into a financial lesson, and Teresa was not having it. Okay, Luann, hers was the Turks and Caicos that they brought men back to the room, and the other women were like surprised by it. I think one of them went into the bathroom and there was a naked man or something. So, yeah, that was funny. So then they start dancing, and Portia is twerking, and Portia's got a booty on her that Giselle was mentioning. And She's like, I don't think anyone else can twerk like her. And then Kyle was joining her, and they're like, Kyle's got a little booty, but Kyle does know how to dance. She does the splits too. So now we have the 80s theme party, and it's at the Quiet Woman, which OC was just there when Vicky had her l- either lunch or dinner with Tamara and Shannon to try to get the Tres Amigas back together. So all the ladies were getting ready, and keep in mind this was filmed before the OC was filmed. So Tamara and Shannon are still on the outs. So they all go outside and they're waiting for their vehicle, and a crappy van pulls up. And Vicky's like, "No, you got to be kidding." Because a couple seasons ago, this is probably a while ago, they were taking a trip, Vicky with her family, and they sent a family van. And you see her calling them, screaming, "Why would you send a family van?" So this actually looked like the van that, like almost the same from that um that year that happened. And everyone's starting, oh, okay, what the heck? Everyone's starting to pile in, and then Kyle starts laughing, and she's like, "It's a joke, it's a joke. I'm just kidding." So earlier she had called down and asked the desk if they would do that. But she did have the black SUVs pull up after. So yeah, that was funny. What did Luann call it? A jalopy van. Okay. So, um, at The Quiet Woman from OC, we have Joe De La Rosa, Tamra, Gina, Gina Keel. By the way, Gina Keel has cancer in the tongue, and she is fighting that right now. So our prayers go out to Gina. Heather Dubrow and Shannon Bedore. And it's funny because the wig Shannon had on, they they asked her, "Is that Mrs. Roper's wig?" And they refer back to an episode where they did a dress up, and Kelly Dodd called Shannon Mrs. Roper, because then you look at her and she does. She looks like Mrs. Roper. And here's the funny part. Uh, Speaking of Mrs. Roper, there was a picture of Tony Hawk and Mr. Roper next to him. And they're like, when did Tony Hawk start looking like Mr. Roper? It was so funny, the hair and everything. So yeah, that's funny. And in case you don't know are the Ropers, Three's Company. You can see this on TV. Just Google it and it will tell you where you can watch it. Three's Company was a funny comedy show with John Ritter, Joyce DeWitt, and the late Suzanne Summers, and the late John Ritter. And the Ropers were the ones that owned the apartment building. So go check that out. Okay. All right. So, like I said, Shannon and Tamara were not on good terms. And Tamara said, "Vicky, you look like a drag queen." And Luann said she looks like Phil Spector. Now, I want to say, and I should have looked this up, but I'm pretty sure Phil Spector was um, I think he was a murderer. Let me see. He died in 21. Maybe I was wrong. Oh, he was in prison. He served 12 years in prison before he died. And he passed away in 21. Oh, yeah, he was. He was convicted second-degree murder of Lana Clarkson. So I guess Phil Spector, he was American record producer and songwriter who became famous for his wall of sound production technique, and then he ended up murdering somebody. That's awful. But I'm looking at the pictures. I don't see no blonde wig, so I don't know how Luann got Phil Spector. Okay, back. Back to the show. All right, so this was a 80s party, bunco party, and Vicky said she wanted a do-over because she was down talked by Slade in season 7 about her nose, and she got work done. She got like her nose, her face, her chin done because of him calling her Miss Piggy. So this is a redo bunco, and she's going forward. So she had photos of Gretchen and Slade, and Luann smashed Slade's picture. And Tamra said, "Congratulations to Vicky to getting her orange back and to this 80s party." And it's funny because everyone's saying the OC girls are loud. And they are. They are loud. You would think New Jersey would be. But we'll see. I don't know how this is going to work if they travel to the different areas to see everyone else. But I do know there is one big party, and there's over, I think, 87 of them of housewives. Oh boy. And Andy was there. I'm sure that was fun for him. Okay, so in case you don't know, Bunko, Shannon said it starts with ones. You roll 3 dice. Every time, 3 dice, every ones, you get a point. 3 ones is Bunko. So a couple of them did get it. Tamara hired 80s guys to keep score, and it was these younger guys dressed like the 80s. And one table had him taking selfies of them, or picture, I should say pictures of them. It was funny. So, at the table, Tamara and Shannon happened to be with Giselle, and I'm trying to think who was sitting next to her. Might have been Lisa, I'm not sure. But Giselle asked Tamara and Shannon if they hate each other. Tamara said no. Shannon said, um, or no, I'm sorry. Tamara said no, but I've tried. And Shannon goes, that's her story. And that she let a prior year go, and moving forward and filmed with her. And then I don't know why Tamara said this, so this makes sense why when the OC began, why Shannon was so hurt what was said to her on the girls' trip. Now we know. Tamara says, I'm the one that has everything. I'm good. I have kids in college and blah, blah, blah. I have a husband and I'm not struggling right now. So that was a big jab at Shannon. And I was like, you know what? That was not cool. I would not ever say that. Just to, if I was fighting with somebody, I would never say that. In fact, from previous episodes, you've heard that I've had issue with a friend not showing up. And if I were to see her in person, I wouldn't be rude like this. So Shannon runs off, and Tamara's like, oh, that's what she does. And apparently, Shannon says that Tamara called her a see you next Tuesday 18 times at the table, which I want to say was it the prior season? And Tamara did the little sign, the little glug glug drinking sign. And Shannon's like, I'm not the only one who drinks. You said you would never drink again. And here you are. So the Tres Amigas are not the Trace more, or what did someone say? The Trace Amigas not being the Trace Amigas, more like the Trace enemies. Okay, so Tamara goes to the bathroom and Giselle does too, and you hear them talking. And Giselle said that earlier, Vicky said on the yacht that she was talking crap about you. Now, I didn't really think Vicky was saying anything bad. She just said her concern of the Trace Amigas and worries about Tamara and what she'll do for the camera. So, of course, Tamara gets upset, goes to Vicky, and says, I heard you're talking shit about me. And Vicky says, I get scared being around the conflict. We're the Trace Amigas. And Vicky says she's the peacemaker. And then she's like, so who said this to you? And Tamara said it was Giselle. And Vicky's like, well, that's a pot stir. And now Vicky does not want to be around Giselle that she did this. So I guess things are now hunky dory between Tamara and Vicky. And Heather Dubrow does a nice toast, and that's where it ends. So stay tuned. It's on Sundays, and if you miss it and don't get to record it, you can catch it on Peacock the next day. All right. So till next week. I so far I think this is cool. Having all them together. Well, not all of them yet, but they did show clips that will be interesting. And I don't know if everybody was invited because there are some controversial ones. I know Kelly Dodd is a controversial one. I don't know if she was invited. So, okay. Well, till next time. See ya. We really appreciate you hanging out with the two scrappy chicks today. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, download, and share it with a friend. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, just let us know.